Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor, and I'm going to show you some spots I like to play on Sharqi Peninsula Rush, and one of the more frustrating rounds I've ever played on the last of MCOMs, but we'll get to that. 99% of the time I spawn Engineer on the first sets of MCOMs and go tank hunting. Once we kill the tank, I try to set up right here because it's a great spot to shade and pillar from infantry, because look at this, you can use the elevation to play off this wall and this hill. Now, the only tip I have right there besides using this elevation is don't hug the wall. Smart players just going to 320 that or RPG that when they see you go for cover and kill you, because the damage radius is pretty ridiculous. So here you see me in trouble. I'm going to crouch, crawl up, but never get too close to that wall just in case he wants to throw something heavy at it, right? Come back with the ACWR, heavy barrel, no foregrip, red dot, and see how long I can stand. As you can see, this is a busy spot. It's really helpful if you have a couple infantry in this area. So if you're playing engineer or medic or support, this is a great spot to play. It's a target-rich environment, and you can keep the tank at bay. And at the end of the day, Sharqi Peninsula Rush, if you can shut down your tank, you're going to have a bigger chance of winning this round than if you let their tank run rampant. And here you see me chasing the tank again. That's literally what I do for most of this match until we get pushed back to the last MCOM. And then I spawn medic, and the wreck's bailing me out, trying to reload my rockets, and they just don't want to leave me alone. So as you can see on the minimap, I really didn't have help there, and I was on a sinking ship anyway. So this is the frustration for this round. The last set of MCOMs, the last MCOM, is really hard to defend, but you've got one of the best spots. You're in the building. Now, here's the thought process. When you see this many red dots on the minimap, do you go rushing around, or do you start to play defensive? Do you change your play style to help you out and help your team? So the good news is our recon has a beacon. That's really helpful because it bails us out a couple times, because I'm literally the only guy in here for the duration of this until my squad mates spawn back and run to their death. So there's a couple things you have to be worried about. Guys, parachuting in from the top, because the attackers always get the top. They got the little bird. They're going to drop spawn beacons. They're going to come parachuting in. They'll always have it. So they can parachute down to the patio that I'm looking at. They can also parachute into these windows. I've seen it done a million times. It takes some skill, but people know how to do it. Then, of course, the patio itself. There's two ways up. So there's lots of angles that you have to worry about on top of the enemy tank taking the hillside and spamming this area. About 7 to 10 days ago, I did a video about how the tank can sit on the hillside, spam the doorway to the stairwell, and completely shut down the defenders from running back up here or running back from upstairs. Now, why don't I go for those revives? Those guys just got instantly killed, and I guarantee you there's 2 or 3 guns looking at that stairwell. I'll go for this revive. So I noticed I was one of probably the only guy alive at that moment, and I'm not going to die because I didn't really know at that point if that recon beacon was still up. So this last MCOM, the public service announcement I'm trying to lay down is, what do you do when situations quickly change? When you see a bunch of red dots saturating the area, do you think to yourself, hey, wait a minute, I need to play safe. I need a defensive position because my squad's just running to their death mindlessly, or my team's not in the right positions. They're all about these crazy flanks and nowhere near the MCOM. What do you do? And then when you look at the minimap like this, and you don't see red dots all over the place, do you push back out? This is the situation where you can push back out and get a little bit more aggressive. But at the end of the day, when shit is hitting at the fan, always run back to the MCOM no matter how far you are away. If you're back raging enemy lines, just start hoofing it back to the MCOM. You're going to shoot a bunch of people in the back, and you're going to alleviate some of the pressure. Now, for those of you playing 12v12 current gen console, moving to next gen console or PC, you have to remember the numbers game. Well, in console, 2 guys might have run that stairs. Well, in current gen PC and next gen consoles, that could have been 12 guys coming up that stair. So just because you kill 2 doesn't mean the threat is eliminated, as I look straight up and see 3 guys dead above me. So now it's time to kind of look at the situation, check the back door, make sure the beacon's up, and kind of adjust my play again. Guys are dying. I can get this revive. The spam is coming. A little bit of RPG, maybe a 320. So I'm going to drop back on these TVs. These TVs are great. They give you multiple angles, shade from damage just in case the tank is spamming, but it's not, because we still have it. So props to the guy who stole their enemy tank, who's playing well. Now, why didn't I go for that revive right there, right in front of me? Because there's a couple guys still on the patio. If I would have Rambo revived him, I probably would have revived a guy who's run to his death 5 or 6 times in a row. I'd have been shot in the face. Now, if I'm out of ammo, I'm also going to make sure I reload before I even get my pedals out, because the last thing I want to do go paddle, get rushed, switch to a gun, not have any bullets, have to switch to a pistol, it takes too long. You're already going to be dead. So sometimes the best thing to do in situations like this is not revive. If it's going to get you killed, if you have to take your gun out of your hand, just remember how people are playing around you. Now, if the guy's a killing machine, take the risk. Get that guy up because he's probably a smart player who's going to help you out. But if it's some blueberry who's just running to his death every single time, it might be best to not revive that guy. And only you know the situation into which you can revive and probably shouldn't revive. There's nothing wrong with Rambo reviving, but it does take the gun out of your hand. And at the end of the day, if you Rambo revive in front of 2 or 3 enemies, you're probably both going to get wiped anyway. So here you see me kind of playing the patio again and taking a look and picking off some guys on the ridge. Now, the good news is they haven't had the ridge the entire match. That could be really painful if the attackers have the ridge because then you can't peek patio. Then you can't go to the right side of this computer because you're going to get shot, especially if you try to play this wall. So I'm literally playing super defensively, and we really haven't had the stairs for much of this round and as they come flooding in. So those guys get killed in a bad situation. I'm going to try to go for revive right here, and that's what I'm talking about. The paddle's out of my hands, the gun's not in it, and that was that. So, Sharqi Peninsula Rush defense, when you're doing this, try to pucker up, try to play super defensively. That's really the only way to hold the MCOM if the situation presents itself like that. And I didn't use spawn and vulnerability right. I should have wiggled my mouse, looked around, seen 10 guys there, and probably shot 1 or 2 in the face, right? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this frustrating round of Sharqi Peninsula Rush, and maybe it changed how you think about this last MCOM. As always, YouTubers, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. If you had some fun, learned something, don't forget about the old thumbs up. We'll see you guys soon.